What are we doing here, Mike?
I've convinced JP to join a little bit of a wine tasting here, and in honor of March Madness, we're setting up the bracket.
Awesome.
You have selected some wines here.
Like varietal, so four pairings. Try to keep the price point, in a comfortable range, kind of like your daily drinkers. And I picked different regions, so we'll have some French versus some domestic, some Oregon versus some California, and so on and so forth.
It'll get interesting in the next bracket round when it's, the white versus rosé and the cab versus the noir. It'll be good.
Yep.
It'll be a good time. So make sure you keep a heads up on who the winner is, because it will be featured in some way on sale. There'll be a benefit to purchasing this wine.
Let's just say that I'm going to do my best to get whichever supplier provide the greatest value, because we're going to have it stacked, all three stores. That's it. Let's get this party started.
All right, let's start this party. What do you want to start with?
Reds, whites? No, we got to start with Bill. Yeah.
Start with whites. Bill says whites.
All right. What are we going to start with? Let's start with the Sauvignon Blanc. So we've got New Zealand versus Napa.
Yes.
Charles Krug.
Whitehaven.
Versus Whitehaven. I won't.
You can't. What did you? Do you have a winner?
No,
picked?
no. There's no winner until we taste things. It's been a few years since.
Wow, healthy pour on the first one.
Yeah.
I know your goal for the tasting here. I know a lot of people get super fancy with color and everything like that.
Yeah, we're going to keep things very simple.
We're very much more amateurs. So you're starting with Charles Krug.
Start with Charles Krug.
All right, Charles Krug.
There it is.
Oh, a little nice smell here. I get that little, so I'm not fancy with my descriptions, so forgive me, but I get that little, like that little bit of tangy feeling, like when you have a warhead. Not as extreme. Do you know what I'm talking about? The candy warhead?
Yeah, I know what you're
too old
talking
for
about.
that?
No, I'm not too old, but I don't get that feeling at all. No.
Yeah, I know, but I don't need the fancy word for it. I try to keep it simple in terms of people would understand. So I will say, on the nose, out of the gate, I really like the Whitehaven.
Whitehaven's
I haven't tasted it yet.
Yep, well, taste it. And then New Zealand's definitely got the citrus. Grapefruit.
That is.
They're night and day.
Wow.
They're night and day, different styles.
I don't have to go through all the different things. I would pick the Whitehaven as the winner of this round.
Whitehaven is the porch pounder. 80 degrees. It's warm outside. Keep it nice and cold. It's crisp. I don't think it's over the top, with the fruit, but
no, not at all.
The Krug was just a little bland.
I would say, besides bland, it's a
lacking
too citrusy. If that's the phrase, citrusy. That on the back of the tongue. Bring it to the back. Not at all. Not any of that slight tingle. Wow.
No, not a.
No, it's not strong. It's just. It's not like having a warhead. It's on the way to that similar feeling. Just
it's Sauv Blanc, New Zealand's just
the winner.
The winner.
Yes.
Hands down.
So we're picking the Whitehaven. Whitehaven wins.
Done.
Whitehaven wins.
Bam.
First round goes to Whitehaven.
All right. Next up, we've got New Zealand against France.
Rosés.
The whole rosé craze that started a few years ago, it really hasn't calmed down.
No,
but
not at all.
There's very different styles. So.
Oh, you're gonna make me try to pronounce the French one. Great.
Belarus.
There, thank you.
Chapoutier.
Belarus. See, I can learn French. First off, I know I wasn't going to talk too much about color, but as you can see, or you might not be able to see on camera, the Belarus, a lot darker.
It is.
So it's not as bright, which I don't know what that'll lead into. Oh, wow. I was not expecting that at all.
Impressed?
What's the price point of these bottles? Do you
They
remember?
range $12 to $14. So
Wow.
very moderately priced wines. You know,
Then-
there's some other French rosés, you know, that are delicious, but range, you know, that are double and triple this price point. So we wanted to keep it very,
Yeah.
very
I was
friendly.
not expecting that taste from the nose.
No, I haven't tried this in years, and quite honestly, that just that surprised me as well. I'm trying to figure out how to describe what we.
Dry enough though to physically make your mouth dry.
Well, let's,
All right, Oyster Bay, much brighter.
let's go back to New Zealand.
This is gonna be. That's gonna be a tough one for me.
That's interesting. Definitely lighter.
It would really depend on. This one would depend to pick a real winner. It would depend on the
What you're
weather
eating?
and what you're eating, because they're gonna go with slightly different things. And one's definitely for. I would say the Oyster Bay is for a hotter day. It doesn't dry your palate out as much, so you can really drink it with the heat. Poolside, if I had a pool.
Yep. I would almost take this Oyster Bay Rosé and put it up against that Whitehaven.
Well,
as,
it's going up against it.
Well,
might.
it is, but on it's that same setting where you're like, do we go with Oyster Bay Rosé or with a Whitehaven Sauvignon Blanc? You know, they are both out of New Zealand, so they have a similar style. But I agree with you. It's crisper. It's lighter. But that Chapoutier is.
You just said that because you wanted to look cool. Chapoutier.
Chapoutier.
When you go back to it, you get a little bit more of the notes out of it. That's a really hard pick for me. I don't know if you have a clear winner.
I don't. Can we revisit these?
We'll come
do
back
we-
to them.
all
Yeah, we
right.
can come back to them.
All right.
Come back to them.
We're
I
gonna
still
revisit
don't know.
that. Yeah, that's a difficult one.
Maybe one of these will inspire a choice on the Oyster Bay
We're gonna
and whatever French word you keep saying. Belarus?
Belarus.
Belarus.
Chapoutier.
Chapoutier.
Next up, we're gonna move on to the Pinots before we get to the Cabs.
All right, Pinot
So
Noirs.
here we've got bread and butter Pinot Noir, which is California, Napa, and we've got Elouan Pinot Noir, which is from Oregon. So, all right,
Let's do
you
this.
pour the
Okay.
bread and butter, and I'll pour the Elouan.
So color is the first thing that stands out to me, obviously. I mean, if you can see that on camera at all.
One's deep and
Yeah. Is that bread and butter? Is that what it's called?
bread and butter.
Bread and butter is a very light. Like it almost looks like a watered down wine. I don't know if that sounds appealing, but
Well, taste it and we'll find out.
yeah.
Going in for
The
the bread and
nose,
butter.
It has, yeah, bread and butter. It has like that traditional Pinot Noir nose on it, I think. I wasn't expecting that.
No.
Have you had this?
No, the first time I'm tasting it. We just added it to our selection here behind
Wow.
us. So, what it lacks in color, it definitely doesn't lack in
Flavor,
In flavor,
taste.
yeah. No, it's
Wow.
very interesting.
What's the price on these?
They are between $15 and $17.
That's
15
a wine
and 18.
that you bring to a dinner party that maybe people haven't had, and it's just something very interesting that they can have before dinner. That's something they can drink. I mean, depending on what the meal is, but
Yeah, that's the nice thing with Pinots. They're not,
I would love this with a charcuterie. Different meats, a couple different cheeses, just because it can. A weird way, it stands on its own, and it's like you're getting a second bite when you drink to eliminate whatever your food that you're having. I was not expecting that at all.
No.
This wine hides behind a very traditional Pinot Noir smell, nose.
Absolutely. Leather?
I don't know.
No? Yeah.
Leather. Who licks leather?
No, it's just that it's got that You know,
Well, that's told to me.
No, you hear that word often with Pinots, and until you actually taste one that brings
That's
that
true.
out, you know, it's not something I would use to describe the. That's interesting. But let's move on.
Look at how much I drank of that.
Elouan's been a favorite here. I haven't had it in years, but if you're going to drink something from Oregon, you know, Pinot Noirs, what they're really
Well, and they really rounded out their portfolio with how many different wines they're making from that region.
well, there's a lot of wines that'll say Oregon and they're actually not. And
Right.
That's purely Elouan, always coastal. Interesting. Well, let's give this a whirl and see what it
Wow.
tastes like.
The initial off the nose is really great. For me, that's all fruit.
Yeah, it's-
Delicious fruit, actually.
Yeah. Yep.
This is the one. Now, if you're going to that same dinner party, this is the one that you bring that goes with the meal.
I think
That-
well, and you can get some non-wine lovers,
To like that.
or exactly. It's definitely it's easier. It probably appeals to a wider spectrum.
Yep.
It's
Approachable.
approachable.
I heard that word. That's a
Yep.
very approachable wine.
Yes.
It
Whereas,
doesn't-
whereas this, you know, it'll. I won't say it's love or hate, but there's definitely some characteristics that can turn some people off,
Definitely.
especially if not paired, you know, properly with
Right.
what you're eating.
I would drink this by itself all day long.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
Because it's so unique. It's not that it tastes like, but it's like salt and vinegar chips.
I was
me.
I was not. Oh,
Not the taste,
No,
but in the fact that you can just eat a salt and vinegar chip and you don't have to have it with anything.
Yep. And you love or hate it as
And
well.
you love or you hate
Yeah.
salt and
There's
vinegar
no.
chips.
There's no. You're either a fan or you're not. So.
Wow. But this is extremely approachable, but I do really like the nose and finish. I think I like better on this, but
Sorry, Oregon, but
yeah,
I'm gonna
going with bread
have
and
to
butter.
actually. And on this one, I wasn't expecting this, but bread and butter's the winner.
I agree. Like, yeah, I agree. For my own personal reasons, being I like things that are a little bit more unique, that are different. This reminds me of a
This-
very traditional Pinot Noir, while the bread and butter is just, it's something
Well, and
kind of new.
I feel like this over delivers for the price point as well. It drinks like more expensive Pinots, more
Yep.
complex Pinots. So this really surprised me.
Yep,
That's
I
that's
agree.
that's some it's a good value.
I agree.
All right,
Bread and butter wins.
ready to jump into the cabs?
Cab time, baby. I
Gotta
don't really-
obviously
I mean,
save the big bold cabs for last.
Have you had any of these?
I have had the Federalist.
You've not had Juggernaut? So I've had Juggernaut. I haven't had Federalist.
All right, well let's see how they stack up against.
And I picked that. You picked.
Yep. Similar price points. Juggernaut's got a beautiful bottle. I mean, this
Very cool,
as a
artistic.
gift, obviously it stands out. But let's talk about the juice in the bottle.
Little ace up my sleeve. Juggernaut at one point was voted the #1 cab, under $20.
I didn't know
So yeah,
that. I did not know that.
that's why I picked it. I'm trying to win here.
All right, let's see.
I'm trying to win. What do you want to start
Juggernaut's
with?
on the right, correct?
Yes.
Well, let's start with the Federalist. You're pretty excited. You need to calm down.
You went out.
Ready?
That was a lot better tasting than I was expecting.
Really?
Yes.
Not my style. I'll start off right
I'll
out.
agree
You
with
know, a little too jammy. We got to try the Juggernaut.
Yeah. Off the nose.
There's a reason. Night and day.
Yep.
Night and day. You want a cab that tastes like a cab? I'm sorry, but this isn't even a.
It's not even close for you.
No, it's not even close. I mean, I think we're both on the same page here.
I wouldn't be as harsh because I can accept jammy. I do like jammy wines. I like some of the other things on the shelf that you have here. That are
I think
very
if
jammy.
you want a jammy wine, you go with a
North Star Merlot.
no.
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Come on.
But that's true to its varietal. You know you're
Yes.
drinking a Merlot. You know, you want a jammy red blend, fine. But a jammy cab,
That's true.
it doesn't taste like this doesn't, in my opinion, it's just lacking what makes a cab a cab. It's lacking that.
That Juggernaut's
All it says
awesome.
is,
I'm very impressed.
You're bullish Juggernaut.
I'm very, very, very impressed with
Told you, man.
the.
I told you.
No, there's. No, I could see this as
Very good.
and it's not over the top. You know,
No.
super dry. It's true to its roots as a cab, but I would drink that with anything from
New York prime.
obviously a steak, but
I
even
know.
something, you know, you're eating a burger. You can open this bad boy up.
You definitely could.
Not
I go
to say-
Garnache with a burger, personally.
That'll be for the April bracket that we're gonna do. You know, we're gonna continue this.
Sugar finger.
We'll
Bel
continue.
Rouge with the burger.
Ah, Garnache, man. Which you need to get Tres Picos.
You keep talking about Tres Picos. You need to bring a bottle of Tres
I'll bring you a
Picos.
bottle.
We'll
I'm
trade.
not the rep. Okay, it's not my job.
We'll start trading. I'll give you a
If
bottle.
you're a rep of Tres Picos, find this guy and bring him a bottle of Tres Picos, please. Not my job.
I'm impressed.
Yeah. Very good.
Bravo.
So Juggernaut beats Federalist. We haven't decided on the Oyster Bay and
Chapoutier, Belarus.
Chapoutier, Belarus. I kind of have my decision made up about those, though.
What did you?
I
Why?
went with.
Or how?
Okay, so I went with the Oyster Bay
Okay.
because when I drink a rosé, I am really expecting something very light, something that kind of kisses the palate versus gives me a lot of flavor, which may not be fair because that might be what they're going for, or a viewer might prefer over something super light. But I like how light. I like that it doesn't dry my palate out completely, which, depending on what I'm eating, if I'm eating a really juicy white fish, I would like that. I would like to dry out my palate a little bit in between each bite. But I like the Oyster Bay.
Yeah, and I disagree with you. So I'm not sure how we're going to hash this out. But for me, the Oyster Bay is interchangeable with any crisp white.
That's a good point.
You
Okay.
I
will
any
concede on
Sauv
that
Blanc,
point. It's
It's-
why I chose bread and butter over the Elouan, because I thought bread and butter was very unique. So I will concede to your French.
Oh, wow, I was expecting more of a battle there,
Nah.
but all right,
Not at the end of 8 tastings. You're not going to get
all
much
right,
of a battle.
all right. And all wines, I mean, for the most part, were great. I mean,
I would say every single one I would buy and enjoy in its own way.
Yep,
Um,
we're being harsh critics here.
because we have to have a winner. And
Exactly.
in life,
There's winners and
life
losers.
is harsh.
Yes.
There's winners and losers.
Now what?
Now it's white versus rosé and cab versus Pinot.
Pinot. All right, here we are.
We're rocking.
Final four. Final four.
Final four. This is the semifinal right here. We're doing whites first. Well, white and rosé.
Let's do this.
So,
No mixing
doing-
things up this time.
nope.
Clear. Oh, here you go.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Whitehaven versus the French wine I still can't
So
pronounce.
it's still New Zealand versus France here.
Yep.
This was the World Cup. We talk, in countries versus
I would say
varietals.
France is going to win.
All right.
If I was a betting man on the World Cup. What do you want to start with?
Cheers. We haven't.
Yeah, no cheers. Which, by the way, just had me notice the legs on that. That Whitehaven's really nice. So we're coming off the cab, which is interesting because it was still on my palate. I did nothing to clear it. The fruit, the citrus, everything was more pronounced on the nose. Initially on the palate, it was really good.
Yeah. No, it's.
That's like a summer fruit juice right there.
This makes you want to move
Move.
down south.
Yes.
Exactly. Exactly. Because you
Move.
can't. It's hard to enjoy wines like this when it's snowing
out.
outside like it is today.
That's true.
So.
I don't know. That's easy to enjoy no matter what the weather is. That's really good.
This reminds me of spring and
That's
summer.
true.
That's all.
Spring more than summer. I think of a lot of rosés in the summer just because they've been hyped that way, probably. Again. Easy winner for me. Super easy winner.
Let me guess, Whitehaven.
Yeah.
I think it's more versatile.
Yep.
You know, whether you're eating something.
I'm thinking like a white wine lemon garlic pasta.
Now you're getting fancy.
Yeah, a white wine lemon garlic pasta with either.
The reality is, I see this poolside or at the dinner table, and I'm not sure I'd see this poolside. So.
Yeah. Whitehaven wins that one for me. Like
We're on the same page. It's and they're both. I mean, the Belarus is
it's fantastic, but I have a clear winner at this point for me.
Whitehaven. It is.
Whitehaven wins.
All right, you ready?
We're on to the Reds. The other semifinal is the Juggernaut versus Bread and Butter, which will be a difficult one for me because Bread and Butter is new to me, and I loved it. And Juggernaut is not new to me, and I do love that wine.
They're both new to me, and they're both very different. So I'm not sure, what we're going to use to decide this one.
They're very different wines. You're going to see the color difference. The Bread and Butter is much lighter, which we noticed even in its last round against Elawan. It was lighter than that too. But we're doing a Cab versus a Pinot Noir. I don't know if that's necessarily fair.
At the end of the day, there's only one winner.
That's true. That's true. If I'm just doing, I'm going to be completely agnostic. What did you try first? Bread and Butter?
Pinot, trying to,
Yeah, flatten out a little. Every time.
Yeah. It's
really good.
It is. I'm actually shocked at how good it is for the price point.
That could be another factor.
Could be, but I'm trying. They're all
They're pretty close.
relatively, similar. So
20 and under for the most part.
Yep. Oh yeah.
I have a friend whose parents would drink a bottle of wine every night with dinner, and they said there's no reason to spend over $20 for a bottle of wine. I'd have my arguments for that for certain wines that I really truly love, but this little bracket here, I think we should call this the under 20 bracket.
Under 20, but real wine.
Yep.
This isn't, this isn't some lab
Yep.
experiment.
No, this is
So
this is good stuff.
they're true to what they're supposed to be, and how do you whittle this down, Mike?
I can whittle this down easy. For me, this is an easy choice.
What are we eating?
We can't even do them. For me, it's easy because of what I like to do with friends, like with wine. I like to introduce something that is maybe something that a flavor profile that they haven't experienced before. And as good as the Juggernaut is, as good as it is in the Cab world, the Bread and Butter, I already know most of my friends with the wines that I've introduced or have kind of brought as a new wine, I don't think they'd actually like it as much, the Bread and Butter. I don't think they would like the Bread and Butter as much.
Okay.
But for me, it's bringing something very unexpected, something new. I'm able to say what the price point is, which is really cool because it sits in for me, a range that is much higher than what the bottle is sold for. The Juggernaut, though delicious, please don't get me wrong, this is an amazing, if you want a Cab that is like amazing and you're not trying to break the bank, this is an amazing wine. But for me, the Bread and Butter is something a little bit more unique, and that's how I like wines. I like things that are a little off the beaten path, and that does it for me. The Bread and Butter does that for me.
That's interesting.
That's my take on it.
if I use the same logic, I'd come to the same, conclusion. I agree with you. I'm more of a Juggernaut cab drinker because I typically lean towards my big, bold Napa cabs, and this is right up my alley, and it definitely over-delivers for the price. But the bread and butter did shock me and did surprise me. It was a little bit more complex than I expected for, the price point, and I do believe it over-delivers. So the question is it as versatile as the Juggernaut is?
Absolutely not. No.
Is that a factor?
For me, no. But that's because of how I like.
We got to
introduce
find a winner
wines.
here, Mike.
I know, and I've made my winner. I've said I'm going to take the bread and butter over the Juggernaut.
So what happens if I pick the Juggernaut?
We're going to fist fight.
Arm wrestle? This is interesting.
I've made my decision. I'm not the indecisive one. And if you're going to pick the Juggernaut, you need to try to sell me on it. But I really,
Like I said, the Juggernaut is a safer call. It'll appeal to more,
anyone who likes cab is going to ask you where,
Yep.
what that bottle is. They're
Yep.
going to sit there and say that is one of the best. That's a fantastic one.
And
Anyone.
that's why it's the winner.
For you?
Yep.
I mean, oh man.
That's why it's the winner.
I mean, I did say most of my friends who have introduced wines, they won't like that.
Exactly. So you gotta,
But that's my friend group.
Yeah, but this isn't.
I don't hang out with smart people.
You need. I'm sorry for that. You need to convince. I mean, we're talking to the masses, hundreds of thousands that are watching this video.
Hundreds of thousands.
Hundreds of thousands.
Which the view count is right below
Yes.
the video.
4.
I have an idea.
Blended too?
No. What kind of psychopath would do something like that? Grab a third glass and let's do the
Whitehaven?
Whitehaven. Yeah, we're going to do a runoff here because you can't come to a consensus for some reason. You can't make a decision. And you're trying to appeal to making everybody happy.
No. I'm not trying to make I love them both. That's the problem. I love them both. They both over-deliver for the price point. And one's true to its cab roots and one's true to its Pinot roots.
I've had some expensive cabs that don't touch that Juggernaut.
I agree with you. There's some cabs that are 3 times the price that, if we were to start lining those up, they would be crying tomorrow.
Because our opinion
matters.
is it
James
matters. Suckling is watching this.
I've kept this real here. This is an underdog, even from the supplier standpoint.
Yep.
So
we're going to add, we're adding the Whitehaven into the runoff because
what?
Because you don't know what to choose.
No.
That's why.
No.
I know what I'm doing. I'm a professional.
Let's go.
All right, so here's our 3 because we couldn't decide. Well, JP couldn't decide on the bread and butter and the Juggernaut, and I made such compelling arguments that I've confused him.
What are we doing?
That makes me happy every time. Especially after having any of these.
Problem is you don't live in Florida. So
Couldn't tell if that was an insult or.
the problem is you don't live in a warm climate.
That's true.
So this does not serve as a year-round favorite, in my opinion.
I mean, my house is heated.
I understand that, but this is, it's different when it's sunny and 80 degrees outside. When it's snowing, I'm not thinking New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc. Plain and simple.
That's true.
I'm sorry.
But I might be thinking bread and butter.
Bread and butter, to that point, is almost, middle ground. It's middle ground.
It's not middle ground. It has enough flavor to not be middle ground. It's its own side ground. It's a different path.
It's got Sigma.
It's a completely different path. It's not middle ground. Don't get fooled by the color.
It is. It is yeah.
You're looking at it. Don't be fooled
I
by the color.
actually think the
this wine.
color is pretty representative of what's going on
Oh.
in terms of taste. You don't agree with that?
Look, everyone, it's Pablo
This is-
Picasso.
This
It's
is
the
your
cab
steak.
part. Yeah, I get it.
This could be everything from a light dish to your steak.
I would disagree. I disagree on that point.
You were talking about charcuterie.
Yeah, but not steak.
That's just because he's hungry.
I am very hungry, which, yeah.
And this,
Charcuterie, no.
it has to be 80 degrees outside, which unfortunately, for me,
Yeah.
puts this guy in first place.
Oh, he's made a decision. Okay, so for me, I would agree with you on where I live. If I did live somewhere that it was warm all the time, besides Texas, which is not warm all the time. There's too much steak in Texas to be
Okay.
having this. Too many sears. Fantastic wine though. Summer wine,
Oh,
all the way.
you're going for a white, crisp.
That is one of the best white wines I've ever had. And remember, I'm a professional. The Juggernaut, though versatile, is just and surprisingly good, or what you would say over delivers at its price point, and beats out many wines that are priced way higher than it.
Absolutely.
And is delicious. Doesn't bring the part that I enjoy about wines. It's when I taste something that very much surprises me because it's unique. The Juggernaut surprises me because of the price and how it tastes. The bread and butter surprised me not only because of the price, but it's unique and the complexity. I pick bread and butter, the underdog winner. That's my final choice.
The underdog wins.
You pick bread and butter?
We're on.
On the runoff?
It's here.
All right.
It's here.
Bread and butter.
Cheers.
That's the winner.
Cheers to bread and butter.
Bread and butter.